Labadiena visiems, labai džiugu matyti jūs susirinkusius čia, operos teatro foje. Jau visi turbūt nekantriai laukiame Giuseppės Verdžio AIDOS premjeros, pirmoji premjera jau šį penktadienį. Ir grįžta ir tradicinis LNOkalbių ciklas, kurio metu mes giliau pažįstame kūrinius, kuriuos išgirsime ir šiandien net nebejoju, kad į AIDą nersime visą gelmę, pažinsim ją autentiškai, iš esmės, kadangi šį kūrinį šią popietę mums pristatys spektaklio muzikos vadovas ir dirigentas maestro Sesto Quatrini. Paplokim jam.
Labas vakaras.
Labas vakaras. Ir taip pat muzikiniais operos pavyzdžiais mus džiugins ir pianistas Justas Čeponis. Justai taip pat verta paploti. Šis pokalbis truks 1,5 valandos, aš savo ruožtu pabandysiu išversti tai, ką maestro sako, jo mintis, jo idėjas apie šią nepaprastą muziką. So, maestro, please, I give a word to you.
Ačiū labai. So, thank you for being here. Of course, it's a pleasure to see you again after several months. I didn't have the chance to see your face in the audience, you know, and I'm very excited actually to open this season, which is actually my penultimate conducting here before Hoffman, which will be the last of my, let's say, personal experience with this theater, and then we don't know in the future what will happen. Anyway, AIDA, it's a great title, first of all. Everybody thinks to know very well, but actually it's not true. Because AIDA is an opera, this is the introduction, AIDA is an opera where the tradition of interpretations and the tradition of the interpretation also by my colleagues, old colleagues and also now, sometimes is very, is too much spectacularization in this opera, I would say. So immediately when you think about AIDA, you think the trionfo. Immediately, no? And then you think about this incredible production at the Metropolitan Opera with the elephant, with the horses, with a lot of dancers, and it's risky because you can forget, we can forget, I can forget that AIDA is an opera about intimism, first of all. So there is the love triangle, typical Italian opera love triangle, with Radames, good character, AIDA, our title role, and Amneris. This is more or less AIDA. So if we cut the triumph scene, AIDA becomes immediately a psychological drama and quite modern, I would say. Because at the end of the day, they are doing things that we do every day. Jealousy, fears, politics, religion, sense of loyalty, sense of honor, love, sex also. So they do basically what is our life daily. Please.
Taigi, pirmiausia, maestro pasveikinu visus čia susirinkusius ir pasakė, kad labai džiugu visus matyti čia po keletos mėnesių, kai dar neteko susitikti. Jis ruošiasi savo prieš paskutiniam dirigavimui čia. AIDA būtent taip yra suplanuota, Hoffmano pasakos vėliau bus paskutinis, o po to žiūrėsime, kągi ateitis atneš. Ir šiandien mes pradedame kalbėti apie AIDA operą, kuri yra visiems puikiai žinoma, bet kaip maestro sako, iš tikrųjų kartais jos interpretacija yra šiek tiek klaidinanti, nes išgirdę pavadinimą AIDA, mes iš karto galvojame apie tokias nepaprastai įspūdingus pastatymus, apie triumfo scenas, bet iš tikrųjų tai nėra visai iki galo teisinga. kadangi iš tikrųjų šita opera yra apie intimes emocijas. Kaip maestro teigimu, jeigu iškirptume tas triumfo scenas, iš tikrųjų liktų senas, geras itališkas meilės trikampis tarp Radameso, tarp Aidos pagrindinio charakterio ir Amneris. Ir iš tikrųjų ši opera kalba labai daug apie tai, kas mums yra artima ir mūsų moderniame pasaulyje, apie pavydą, apie pyktį, apie meilę, apie garbę, apie seksą ir apie daugelį kitų dalykų, kurie iš tikrųjų yra labai, labai arti mūsų visų.
Okay, thank you. This reflection I was doing at the very beginning regarding the intimacy and the intimism in this opera affects immediately, should affect also the interpretation of the conductor and the orchestra and singers. Because okay, I can come here in front of you and tell, okay, this is an opera of intimism. There is the love triangle, everything is very intimate. And then maybe I go to the podium and I start to play these huge, enormous sounds, particularly from the brass section, which in AIDA they are particularly protagonists. So when we say that an opera is intimate, it means that everybody has to feel this intimism. From the stage director to the costume designer, to the set designer, to the conductor, to the singers. So what you will come here to listen to will be an opera a little bit different than usual. It's not the typical AIDA. Of course there is Egypt, of course there is the Nilo, of course there is the river, of course there are the balletti, there is no cut, so the opera will be of course full, because AIDA probably is the only grand opera where it's impossible to change even one note. But there will be some moment where really you will have to say, where is the orchestra? Where orchestra is finished? There are 80 people and they sound like two. Because it's only in this whispering that we can find the flying of the birds. We can listen the river, the Nilo. Then later Justas will let you know better and to be more familiar and used with this music. But only if we really make any kind of possible effort from the pit to everybody else, we can get the right intimism. So in the small movement of the singers, in the small expression with the face of the body, in their acting, you can get the drama. Otherwise, AIDA is just a big circus, like it was also in the past. An opera that you come, okay, beautiful, beautiful music, then there is the intervallo, you come in the red foyer, you drink the hot chocolate, and then you come back to listen this huge amount of informations, not organized as a drama. But now our level, not only in the theater, but also the level of our audience, is expecting every time more and more and more from us, is to come here to live a theatrical and music experience at the finest level. And this affects everyone.
Tęsiant intimių emocijų temą, maestro sako, kad iš tikrųjų labai lengva yra ateiti prieš jūs ir pasakyti, kad tai yra opera apie labai intimius jausmus, apie psichologinę dramą, bet lygiai taip pat tada dirigentas labai greitai gali nueiti į orkestro duobę ir vėl grįžti prie tų plačių mostų, groti garsiai, ypatingai varinių pučiamųjų sekcijose. Bet Sesto Quatrini teigimu, iš tikrųjų kiekvienas prie šio pastatymo dirbantis kūrėjas privalo suprasti, privalo galvoti apie tai, jog tai yra opera apie intimius jausmus, apie žmonių emocijas. Tiek dirigentas, tiek kostiumų dizaineris, tiek režisierius, tiek visi kūrybinės grupės nariai. Ir iš tikrųjų dėl šios priežasties, maestro teigimu, ši AIDA bus šiek tiek kitokia, nei galbūt mes buvome įpratę. Ji bus iš tikrųjų kameriškesnė, intimesnė, kai kur tas 80 žmonių orkestras galbūt suskambės kaip vos keletas žmonių, nes maestro teigimu iš tikrųjų tik tame šnabždėjime mes galime išgirsti paukščių čiulbesį, mes galime išgirsti kitus psichologinius niuansus, kurie iš tikrųjų sukuria tą dramą. Kitaip, jeigu mes to nesuprasime, AIDA gali virsti, cirkų, kokiu dažnai būdavo, nes gali būti, kad, ateisite į operą, o tada bus pertrauka, prašmatnus raudonas fojė ir panašiai, bet ne, ši opera bus apie didesnius dalykus. Tiesa, jokių iškarpimų joje nebus, nes AIDA, Sesto Quatrini teigimu, yra, turbūt vienintelė grand opera, iš kurios mes negalime atimti nė vienos natos. Tad bus ir baletai, ir visa kita, kas ten turi būti, tačiau tas kamerinis, intimus operos charakteris tikrai bus matyti šiame pastatyme ir jo teigimu iš tikrųjų publika, kuri ateina į teatrą, jau tikisi vis daugiau iš kūrybinės komandos ir tą AIDA turėtų ir atnešti.
Nuostabu. Fantastic.
Thank you.
So, bravissima. I don't know what you said exactly, but I feel that you didn't lose even one word of mine, so fantastic. So anyway, AIDA. AIDA is an opera, of a very late Verdi, of a very mature Verdi. So has actually nothing to do with the early Verdi, let's say Macbeth, let's say Attila. I'm talking about serious titles, of course. There are also different kind of the comic, for example, Un giorno di regno, that nobody knows, but it exists, it's the second Verdi opera. I mean, AIDA, it comes after Don Carlo, it comes after Simon Boccanegra, it comes after Rigoletto, Traviata, Trovatore, it comes after Louisa Miller, after Les Vespres Siciliennes. Is basically the last Italian opera of the golden age of Italian melodrama. Because after this, Verdi composed, AIDA is 1871, okay? So, Astrunuolica septinidecent Viens. After this, there is Otello, 1887, so Astrunuolica Astruonidecent Septini, and then Falstaff, 1893. It means Astrunuolica Devinidecent Tris. These are the three last operas Verdi composed. And Verdi probably didn't want to compose opera anymore because he was rich enough, full of money, super important. In Italy, he was also in the parliament. He was senatore a vita, now for life, in the Senate of the Republic. He didn't care, but he received a proposal he could not refuse. Money, a lot of money for those times, to compose an opera celebrating the great traditional history of Egypt. For the inauguration, for the opening of the Suez Canal in 1871, in the Opera of Cairo in Egypt. So Verdi actually was called by this government to compose an opera about their history without ever went to Egypt. Like Carmen Bizet never went in Spain, but invented these melodies. So Verdi composed this opera inventing his personal point of view of Egypt. Creating some exotic melodies, but which are not folk melodies. You know, Rite of Spring, Stravinsky, for example. This is a melody, Lithuanian melody, actually. It's the melody of the fisherman, okay? It's a Lithuanian melody that Stravinsky decided to use to create a long, very old word, pagan word. Verdi actually invented totally every melody. So there is nothing true. There is a way that in Italy we say inventare il vero, inventing the truth, which is typical for Verdi, is typical also for our poets, and it's typical for our composers. Inventing with the fantasy a word harmonic and melodic, which immediately to us as audience we say, okay, now we are in Egypt, of course. But this melody is not Egyptian at all. Okay, so it's very important to understand first this, and secondly that AIDA is an opera of the maturity of Verdi, where the dramaturgical message is not so immediate actually as it is in Traviata. And there is no cabaletta. When you go to listen to Verdi, you imagine immediately aria, straight off the chorus, bam, cabaletta, yam, pam 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 di quella pira, lo rendo fuoco, eccetera, eccetera. In this case, there is no cabaletta. There is just every single second, every single instant represented on stage, which is existing also and already in the orchestra and in the moment. Every single moment dramaturgically is important. It's much different than in La Traviata, because I conducted several times La Traviata. In La Traviata there are some moments which is entertainment. Toreador, no? Le zingarelle. Noi siamo le zingarelle. It's a moment that actually is just a context, but is not dramaturgically decisive. In AIDA, even the balletto is very important because it's the celebration of the triumph. And something, I will let you listen later, is happening even in the orchestra about the drama who is gonna come. So now let's do this and then we go to the music. Sorry.
Taigi, kas yra labai svarbu suprasti, galvojant apie AIDą, kad tai yra vėlyvoji Verdžio kūryba, tai ne Makbetas, ne Atila ir ne Rigoletas, ne Traviata ir nedaugelis kitų žymių Verdžio operų, tai visiškai kitas stilius. Tai tiesą sakant, po AIDos dar dvi operas Giuseppe Verdis parašė, Otelą ir Falstafą, o AIDA buvo parašyta 1871 metais ir reikėtų suprasti, kad Verdis greičiausiai net nebelabai norėjo rašyti operų, nes jis turėjo labai daug pinigų tiem laikam, jisai buvo senatorius, parlamento narys iki gyvos galvos, jisai buvo labai žymus ir galingas žmogus Italijoje, tai jam kaip ir rašyti operų nebelabai reikėjo, tačiau jis gavo pasiūlymą, kurio negalėjo atsisakyti, parašyti kūrinį švenčiantį didžiąją Egipto istoriją. Sueco kanalo atidarimo proga 1871 metais, kuri būtų atlikta Kairo operos teatre. Ir jis tą užsakymą priėmė, gavo labai daug pinigų tiems laikams. Ir jis praktiškai išrado Egipto pasaulyje, nes jis niekada nebuvo Egipte prieš tai, kaip ir Bizė niekada nebuvo Ispanijoje rašydamas Carmen. Tai Verdi labai dažnai tą darydavo, jis tarsi išrasdavo naują pasaulį. Ir maestro davė tokį pavyzdį, kad, pavyzdžiui, Igoris Stravinskis savo šventajame pavasaryje, kurdamas tą pagonišką pasaulį, panaudojo lietuvių liaudies dainą, kažką tikro. O Verdi priešingai jisai sukūrė tą Egipto pasaulį, jis jį sukūrė tokį, kokį matė pats. Tačiau sukūrė jį taip, kad publika iš karto vos išgirdusi šią muziką, savo gali pasakyti, kad taip, tai yra Egiptas. Tai yra vienas dalykas, kurį yra labai svarbu suprasti, galvojant apie AIDą ir stengiantis suprasti. Ir kitas svarbus dalykas, ką minėjo dirigentas, kad būtent tas operos parašymo laikas, tai kad AIDA yra vėlyvoji Verdžio kūryba, yra labai svarbu, kadangi priešingai nei kokioje nors Traviatoje, kur galima rasti tokių būtent pasilinksminimui skirtų epizodų, AIDoje kiekviena minutė, net baletai yra dramaturgiškai svarbus, nes kitaip ta dramaturgija nėra tokia akivaizdi, kaip, tarkim, toje pačioje Traviatoje. AIDoje viskas yra nepaprastai svarbu, baletai yra nepaprastai svarbus, tam tikros užuomazgos orkestre yra nepaprastai svarbios. Taigi, tai iš tikrųjų skiria Giuseppės Verdžio vėlyvąją kūrybą AIDą nuo ankstyvesnių jo operų.
Thank you. For example, dramaturgically, what I was saying, it's important to listen. And for example, the balletto, okay, there is the end of the triumph. I mean, Radames arrives, he won the war against the battle against the Ethiopia, and the people are making this triumph. It's a moment of happiness. It's a party, basically. And there is this music without the bass, so pi, no? 1, 2. Okay, thank you. And thank you, bravissimo. Okay, it's very difficult, this ribattuto for the piano. But Justas is not a pianist, he's an orchestra, you know. So, flute. Okay, it's funny, no? But viola and bassoon are playing this melody on this. So you have, so this is something that comes directly from the theme of the sacerdoti at the very beginning of the opera, which is this. Okay, the theme basically is the same, which is a sound of drama in a moment of party. They are happy, there are the dancers, they dance, they do a lot of choreography, beautiful, a lot of gold on stage, but under the carpet there is this feeling that something bad is gonna happen. Indeed, they will die at the end. Of course, it's an Italian opera, come on. They have to die, but they must die, it's very important. But, so together is a one. You know, that makes a moment of party actually bitter. Because you immediately, even if you have not Sesto Quatrini, no, or another conductor who tells you, you go to listen, you say, yeah, it's a moment, but something is not really working in this part. It's not Traviata, no, the Toreador. I don't remember. It's not this. It's not this. It's a party, exotic, but with something that is gonna happen. This is just a small example to tell you how every second in every opera, but Aida and let's say Falstaff, of course, Otello, after the same Simon Boccanegra, Don Carlo, where there is the political drama mixed with the singular, regular life of the characters, dramaturgically we have to find the genius in these small details. The genius of Verdi is here. Is okay, it's a party. You want the dance? Okay, let's put the ballet. People are happy. In Il Cairo, they will do a lot of applause to the ballet. But in that ballet, there is something. Also when there is... It looks like Tchaikovsky, Small Lake. But there is a moment immediately when there... He can try to do... Contrast that it's very strong is the contrast of Aida, because it's the contrast in between. This opera is an opera of dualism about everything. There is Amneris against Aida first, Egypt against Ethiopia, love against no, let's say loyalty against betrayal, you know? Love for a woman against love for your country. Love for, no, sense of honor against the revenge, sense of revenge of Amneris. This is quite strong because in everything you have this contrast from the very beginning, and then I will let you listen the leitmotif, also musically how this contrast is big. But it's important to know that AIDA is an opera of contrast. AIDA is the same from the beginning till the end. Actually, it's also a negative character, if we want. There is like Tosca, there is a moment where actually AIDA... No, let's translate what I said, and then I do this about... Sorry, because it's too much. Sorry.
No problem.
So,
Everything is okay. We'll manage somehow.
And that I'm exciting. Well,
It's okay. I think everybody is excited. Taigi aš dabar pabandysiu išversti labai trumpai, ką mes čia ką tik girdėjom. Tai ta pirmoji tokia labai šviesi Justo paskambinta tema, kurią groja fleitos, Justas gali ją priminti, pavyzdžiui. Ja mes girdim balete, Radamesas grįžta nugalėjęs kare, džiaugsmas, šventė, triumfas ir panašiai, tačiau kartu su ja žemieji instrumentai, altas, fagotas groja visai kitokią temą, kuri ateina iš operos pradžios, gerokai dramatiškesnė. Ir kaip maestro sako, iš tikrųjų AIDA ir yra tokia tame džiaugsme, yra labai daug kartėlio, kažkokios tamsos. Jūs net ir nebuvę šioje paskaitoje, tačiau išgirdę šias apie temas skambant kartu galėtumėte suprasti, kad taip, tai yra šventė, tai yra džiaugsmas, bet kad kažkas blogo ateina. Kad turbūt galiausiai kažkas operos pabaigoje mirs, kaip visuomet atsitinka itališkose operose. Ir kaip teigia maestro, iš tikrųjų tai ir yra tas Verdi genijus, tai yra jo vėlyvosios kūrybos genialumas, kuris lypi detalėse, nedidelėse detalėse, kurių vienas iš pavyzdžių ir buvo šis. Ir visa AIDA iš esmės pasak Sesto yra, na, ji labai vienoda. Visur yra tos detalės, kurios atskleidžia labai esmingus draminius aspektus. Ir manau, dabar we may continue.
Okay, thank you. So, let's go to the character and to the characteristic of the singers we need for AIDA, because this is very important also to understand. First of all, AIDA as a character, for me, is not so positive, actually, to be honest, because, of course, she dies at the end for love, but there is a moment where she betrays her father, her country, or her love. No, not their country, but her love, Radames. Radames is probably the most interesting and beautiful, together with Don Carlo, in my opinion, tenor character in Verdi. And is very positive. He's a hero. He's like a Braveheart, William Wallace 1.0, let's say, you know, at the very, yeah. It's a character very convinced in his ideas, in his thoughts. Is a person ready to die for honor, ready to die for loyalty, ready to die for every values he believes in. And we have here the two wonderful Radames. Sorry, can you stand up, both Gaston and Jorge? Oh, ecco, Jorge and Gaston. Okay. Jorge, Gaston are here, and we are honored to have them. I'm particularly honored that they accept the invitation to come here to listen these stupid things that maybe I'm trying to say. No, I'm joking. But thank you. And they are our two tenors. Gaston, you already know, because he sang Don Carlo here under my baton 2 years ago, and Jorge is his Lithuanian debut. Both from South America, because Gaston Rivero is from Uruguay and Jorge is from Venezuela. So very far away, but now Lithuania is much more in the center, let's say, of the lyric business in the world, so as you can see. Anyway, the point is, Radames is a very positive character. AIDA is positive, but there is, unfortunately, a part of that it's a little bit bitter in her character because she betrays her love, Radames. Amneris is a very interesting character, I would say, because Amneris is negative at the very beginning. You say, my God, she's a snake. She hates everyone. She's jealous, possessive, super powerful. She wants to use her power, political power, as a daughter of the pharaoh to destroy this love that we immediately feel the love between Radames and AIDA. And then but at the end, she succeeds to kill them, basically, and they die. But she doesn't want anymore that. So the last words of the opera, the real last word is pace, peace. And it's sung by Amneris. Is Amneris the singer together with the chorus, female chorus, who close the opera. The opera, the last word is pace, peace, sung by Amneris. So Amneris is probably the only character that during the opera has a metamorphosis and a changement. This is important. It's also important to know dramaturgically, because this opera is strange in this, no? Usually you go to an opera and the lovers are immediately together. Nozze di Figaro. Tan 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 5 tan 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 10 tan tan 36 43 sembra fatto a me per te, sembra fatto a me per te. Susanna, Figaro, immediately together in the room. Here Radames and Aida are together, but the first time they sing together on stage is the third act. For 2 acts, you have Radames talking about his dream of to be a warrior and the love for Aida, singing Celeste Aida, then later we will listen. Then Aida is singing her love for her country, for Radames, for everyone, but they don't still meet, or when they meet, they don't meet each other in the context that they can really let us understand in their love. We know about their love only when they sing their arias, but they don't sing together until the third act, even if they're gonna die together. So it's strange dramaturgically, because for the romantic opera, Romeo and Juliet, Gounod, immediately, Capulet and Montecchi, immediately, they are together. Even the chorus at the beginning tells us the story. There are these 2 lovers, they love each other, but somebody else doesn't want. Fantastic. Then let's start the opera. In this case, we don't know this, actually. We feel that there is a love. We know Aida, of course. We come here that we already know the story. But imagine for the first time, such an impact could have been to feel that there is a couple of lovers, but we know about their love only from the storytelling of somebody else, Amneris, her jealousy. We feel their love because the jealousy in Amneris rise. And then just at the third act, we have finally the love scene, which is very erotic, and we will listen. So it's important to understand that we are not in front of an obvious opera, but we are in front of a monument of theater. And that every note, every breathing by the singers, by the chorus, is important to feel more, to be immersed in this title.
Tai maestro pradėjo nuo trumpos kiekvieno charakterizacijos, pirmiausia, žinoma, nuo Aidos pagrindinės rolės, kuri, pasak jo, nėra tokia vienplaniškai teigiama, kadangi galų gale jį išduoda savo meilę, išduoda savo mylimąjį Radamesą. Radamesas savo ruoštų Sesto Quatrini teigimu, jo akimis vienas įdomiausių personažų Verdi operose kartu su Don Karlu, nes jis yra labai teigiamas, jis yra nepaprastai ištikimas savo idealams, jisai galvoja apie savo šalį, turi didelių ir yra pasiruošęs mirti už savo idealus, už tai, kuo jis tiki, jis yra išskirtinis personažas, na ir Sesto Quatrini pristatė Radamesus, kurie yra čia su mumis, kurie atkeliavę iš Pietų Amerikos. Na, o Amneris, jo teigimu, yra nepaprastai įdomus personažas ir, ką maestro tiesą sakant savo kalbos pabaigoje pasakė, vienintelis personažas, kuris šioje operoje patiria transformaciją, kas yra labai įdomu, nes iš pirmo žvilgsnio mes iš karto suprantame, kad Amneris yra blogas personažas, ar ne, kad tai yra neigiamas personažas, kurį yra linkusi naudotis savo politinę galę, tam, kad pasiektų savo tikslų, kurį nori išskirti Radamesą ir Aidą, ir galų gale iš tikrųjų jiedu miršta ir Amneris tarsi pasiekia tai, ko nori, tačiau paskutiniai žodžiai pačią, ką minėjo dirigentas, kuris reiškia taika ir jie yra dainuojami būtent Amneris lūpomis. Ji tarsi, nebenori to, kas buvo padaryta. Taigi, dar kartą pasikartosiu, ką Sesto Quatrini sakė, kad tai yra vienintelis personažas, kuris šioje operoje patiria transformaciją. Na ir dar vienas dalykas, apie kurį jis kalbėjo, yra tai, kad skirtingai nuo daugybės kitų romantinių operų, AIDA ir Radamesas iš tikrųjų kartu pirmą sykį dainuoja duetu tik trečiajame operos veiksme. Taip, pirmose veiksmuose mes jau galime žinoti apie tai, kad jie myli vienas kitą, bet daugiau žinome iš to, kaip apie juos pasakoja kiti, iš to, kaip auga tos pačios Amneris pavydas. Radamesas dainuoja apie savo meilę AIDai, bet lygiai taip pat dainuoja apie tai, kaip svajoja tapti kariu. AIDA lygiai taip pat dainuoja apie savo meilę Radamesui ir dainuoja lygiai taip pat apie meilę savo šaliai. Tačiau susitinka jie pirmą sykį scenoje kartu dainuoti tik trečiajame veiksme, kas yra labai įdomu, dramaturgiškai įdomu, kas daro šios operos siužetą netokį akivaizdų, ypatingai dramatiškai įdomu ir ką pažymi dirigentas, tas duetas trečiajame veiksme yra labai erotiškas, tai labai stipri scena, kurios klavyrą panašu, kad ir išgirsime. So, Sesto, please.
Yeah, thank you. So, before going to listen to the music, we are ready, yeah? Okay. There is another small reflection I would like to do as big introduction of this opera. AIDA, for me, in my opinion, of course somebody can say that I'm crazy to say this, but for me is the most Wagnerian Verdi opera, for me. Because I realized, studying deeply, because I thought, I know AIDA, come on, how many times I listened to AIDA, but this is my first time conducting AIDA. And I studied deeply, and studying the opera, I understood that probably the Wagnerian lesson to Europe, to the music in Europe, in Verdi, probably finds in AIDA the highest peak. Because, of course, Falstaff, Otello are two different kind of operas, which I think are launching the Italian opera in the next century, and so are anticipating Puccini. If you consider that in 1893 is Otello and Tosca is 1900, I mean, it's just 7 years of distance, okay, between Tosca and Otello, or Bohème and Otello. It's quite 8 years different, 8, 5, 6. But AIDA is still, I believe in what I'm telling you, the last chapter of the Italian melodrama, as we consider the Italian melodrama, le forme chiuse, the closed forms. This is the aria, then finish, applause. Then this is the coro, finish, applause. When you think about Wagner or the same Puccini, we invented the moment how to do the applause. But in Vecchia Zimarra, in Puccini Bohème, there is no end. Puccini never wrote, okay, here the aria is finished, the audience does the applause. It's the conductor, traditionally, who invent, okay, viola, here we keep the note, and then I close, silence, the audience does the applause, and then we continue. But Puccini didn't write this. Probably AIDA is the last opera where the Italian melodrama appears. And it's strange because it's the De Profundis, the Requiem for the Italian melodrama in AIDA, 1871. Italy was finally founded in 1869 as a real country, because before we were just a lot of regions, no? And then we finally became a nation. The same years where Verdi composed AIDA, which is the end of the Italian melodrama, is the beginning of Italia as a country. It's interesting. Then, what is interesting, that this last Italian opera is the most Wagnerian, probably the most Wagnerian operas of Verdi, because Verdi and Wagner, actually, everybody thinks, okay, there are enemies. No. Verdi and Wagner loved each other. they never met, and actually Wagner died in Venezia, in the Grand Casino, in the Casino of Venezia, died there in 1893 because he went to listen to Otello alla Fenice, in the Teatro alla Fenice di Venezia. So Wagner finally went to meet the great colleague, because they were born both in 1813, so Astrunologica, Trilica, both, and then Wagner went to Venezia to finally meet the grande maestro italiano, and the grande maestro italiano and the grande maestro tedesco, the German great maestro, were finally meeting because they were listening to the music of each other. And then Wagner died before meeting Verdi, actually. And why I tell you, and then we go with music and we leave to music the space it deserves. Why I say it's Wagnerian? Because this is an opera made by leitmotif. You remember when we did Rosenkavalier, I show you all the leitmotif of the opera. And today also I will show you the leitmotif, which are a little bit less than Rosenkavalier, fortunately, but combined in a very Italian way, with not that kind of contrappunto that Strauss was able to use, much more clear, much more transparent, I would say, but it's still there. There is the leitmotif, there is the tema di Aida, the Amneris, the conversation theme, the love theme, the sacerdoti, the priest theme. It's the reason why I asked to Justas to be here with me, to let you listen these small thematic ideas, which will be the soundtrack of our AIDA.
Prieš duodant muzikai vietą, kurios jį nusipelno ir truputėlį paanalizuojant operos leitmotyvus, dar keletą svarbių dalykų maestro paminėjo. Tai visų pirma sako, kad galbūt kai kam pasirodys keista, tačiau jis vadina AIDą pačią vagneriškiausią Giuseppės Verdžio operą. Ir dar yra labai įdomu pasakyti tai, kad pavyzdžiui likusios dvi vėlyvosios Verdžio operos Otelas, Falstafas, tas laikotarpis iki, tarkim, Pučinio operų, ar ne, jis yra pakankamai nedidelis ir tų ryšių irgi galima rasti. Ir dar vienas svarbus dalykas, kad AIDA maestro vadina paskutinę tradicinę melodramatinę itališką operą, kuri tarsi užbaigia, tarsi yra de profundis tai ilgai itališkosios operos tradicijai, kai, yra labai aišku, kur yra arija, kur yra recitatyvas ir kur yra metas publikai paploti, nes, tarkim, Pučinis neužrašė, kad po vienos ar kitos arijos mes turime ploti. Dažniausiai mes patys, tai yra arba dirigentai, išrado tas vietas, kur kuris nors orkestro instrumentas ilgiau palaiko natą ir publika jau žino, kad yra metas ploti. Tai AIDA yra, tarsi vienos tradicijos pabaiga, 1871 metai, ir labai simboliška yra tai, kad porą metų anksčiau, 1869 metais, Italija yra pagaliau suvienijama, nes iki tol jis susidėjo iš daugybės.
I made a mistake. Italy was born the same year, 1871. I said 1869, then I went to check to be sure, but I said a very stupid thing. So it's 2 years difference, but the same year of AIDA was the end of Unità d'Italia.
So it is even more symbolic. Taigi tais pačiais metais, kai AIDA buvo sukurta, Italija buvo suvienita ir Italijos kaip vieningos tautos gimimas, kaip ir minėjo kelis kartus dirigentas, sutapo su tos itališkosios operos tradicijos pabaiga, ir tą lygiai taip pat svarbu yra suprasti. Ir tas vagneriškumas, kur AIDoje jį galima išgirsti, tai būtent leitmotyvų naudojame. Apie leitmotyvus jūs, maestro, jums buvo pasakojęs, kai kalbėjotės apie Rožės kavalierių. Aišku, AIDoje leitmotyvų naudojimas nėra toks, galbūt platus ir sudėtingas kaip Rožės kavalierė, kuri yra gerokai vėlyvesnė opera, tačiau vis tiek ir AIDA turi savo temą ir kiti charakteriai turi savo temas. Ir dar vienas svarbus aspektas apie Vagnerio ir Verdžio santykį. Abu šio kompozitoriai buvo gimę tais pačiais 1813 metais ir kai kas galvoja, kad jie, buvo priešai, bet iš tikrųjų tai visiška netiesa. Jie abu labai gerbė ir mėgo vienas kito muziką, nors taip ir nebuvo susitikę. Ir tiesą sakant, Vagneris mirė Venecijoje, nuvykęs pasiklausyti Giuseppės Verdžio Otelo ir norėjęs jau pagaliau sutikti tą italų didįjį maestro, kurio muzikos klausėsi Le Fenice teatre, dėja, ten jis mirė, Verdžio taip ir nesutikęs. Na ir dabar leitmotyvai. Please.
Thank you. So, when we expect an Italian opera, we expect to start with the sinfonia, usually, even Verdi, no? I Vespri Siciliani, or La Forza del Destino. Pam, pam, paradadim, paradadim, paradaririm, paradim, Macbeth. Louisa Miller, for example, beautiful sinfonia. Verdi, there was a moment when he started to refuse, I would say, for some subjects. I think the subjects which are more psychologically intense, I would say, he started to decide to use a preludio or to immerse immediately the audience in the atmosphere. So every other composer, I think, would have started with something going in Egypt immediately. No? Some sound exotic. He decided to start with the love theme, con il tema dell'amore, or AIDA, for me. So love theme and AIDA for me are the same. AIDA tema, il tema di AIDA is very strange because if you can play just one second, not AIDA tema, but Celeste AIDA, the aria of the tenor, you feel immediately that the music is quite stable. No, this is the aria, no? Celeste AIDA, no? Okay, sorry, I sing it very badly, but I mean, come to the performance. No, mieli piccoli, piaciuvi su Sateti Teatra because you will listen to one wonderful tenors, not me. Okay, you will see just my head on the podium. Anyway, this is a very clear tema. It goes somewhere. It starts, there is a belly, it goes to a climax, it comes back. There is the repetitions. First phrase, second phrase. Celeste Aida, forma divina. And then again, beautiful. This aria is an aria of love. Is Radames who sings Celeste Aida, so about her, is a big love for her. But it's very stable for me. It's very clear about Radames. He's a sweet person. Warrior, but with a sweet feeling for everything he believes in. If you listen to the tema of Aida, the beginning of the opera, is this. Pianissimo. Empty. No. Very chromatic. It's not diatonic, it's chromatic. And why it's chromatic? And why I say it's Wagnerian? Because Wagnerian was the champion of the chromatism, no? But because a melody which is chromatic, even if it's very sweet, is uncertain. You don't really feel in which tonality we are, where we are. And this absence of balance represents exactly the characteristic of Aida, also dramaturgically. Aida is a person who is divided by the fact to be Ethiopian and to be a slave, noble, of course, slave in the castle, in the palace, in the king palace of the Pharaoni, so in Egypt. So she's a slave somewhere else. She's full of love for Radames, full of love, sexual love, and love, total love, but also for her father. But the father is an enemy, the first enemy of her lover, Radames, and the country which is hosting her. So this division, this character which is stretched between two different will, two different directions, is exactly represented by this. Let's play, sorry, it's better. Only first violin, pianissimo. Strange, no? So this leitmotif, and then I arrive to the end of this section, it comes back several times during the opera. Every time AIDA is coming, every time we need to smell AIDA, somehow she's arriving, there is, for example, Terzetto AIDA Radames Amneris. Play a little bit before and then we arrive there. Do as you, if I were not here. And AIDA arrives, no? So, I mean, fortunately, they will act much better than me. But anyway, you listen that there is a duetto between, it becomes a terzetto, so the great Verdi, duetto becomes a terzetto. A duetto of jealousy made by this very fast music, and different orchestration. Tremolo. Then you will listen to this, but this is the second time. Then there is a second act before Scena and Duetto AIDA. Let's arrive from sorry, I go out of the cameras.
You mean the aria of
Yeah. The next time you find the...
Or maybe can I translate?
Yeah, meanwhile. Yeah.
While Justas will find the place.
Yeah.
Taigi aš išversiu trumpai, apie ką dabar kalbėjo Sesto. Pirmiausia, jisai pradėjo nuo operos pradžios, kad šiaip įprasta, kad itališkos operos prasideda simfonijomis ir sako, bet kuris kitas kompozitorius galbūt būtų pradėjęs kažkokią ale egiptietišką temą. Bet Verdis pradeda operą nuo meilės, nuo AIDOS temos, kurios mes čia ką tik ir klausėmės ir kuri yra tarsi nestabili, tokia pilna chromatizmų, ar ne? Tuo irgi Sesto susieja Verdi su Wagneriu, kuris, kaip sako, buvo chromatizmų tikras herojus. Ir tas nestabilumas šioje temoje iš tikrųjų labai gerai apibūdina ir patį AIDOS charakterį, kuris, jisai yra nuolatos tarp kelių skirtingų jėgų. Ji yra vergė, Etiopė, ne savo šalyje ir ji yra tarp meilės Radamesui, tačiau ir tarp meilės savo šaliai ir savo tėvui, kuris yra Radameso priešas numeris 1 ir ji yra nuolatos tarsi tarp vieno ir kito ir tas nestabilumas reiškiamas per šitos temos charakterį, tos chromatizmus iš tikrųjų labai taikliai iliustruoja patį AIDOS charakterį. Tuo tarpu pirmasis fragmentas, kurį girdėjome iš Radameso arijos Čelesta AIDA, tai yra labai aiški, labai tvirta, aiškiai kažkur vedanti tema, kuri iš tikrųjų ir parodo tą Radameso charakterio aiškumą, tvirtumą jo idealuose. Ir grįžtant prie AIDOS temos, tas jos leitmotyvų, jis sugrįžta kiekvieną sykį, kai AIDA pasirodo scenoje. Tai matėte, kai maestro rodė, kad štai pavyzdžiui ir tercetas, AIDA atsiranda scenoje, po keletos kitų melodinių fragmentų vėl sugrįžta ta AIDOS tema. Taigi tas leitmotyvų naudojimas operoje yra labai aiškus ir nuolatinis. So we may continue.
For example, at the beginning of the second act, when there is the scene of the house of Amneris is with the chorus ladies, and they are singing about some circumstance music, let's say, but beautiful, no? There is also a small ballet in the between with the slaves. There are some slaves, so everything, it works. The atmosphere is very, very much exotic, I would say, and also beautiful and erotic. So there is Amneris who is singing, Avieni, okay, Avieni, come, no? Come, my love. My love is Radames. Ebria fammi beato il cor, fammi beato. And then new music. Bum, 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 bum. And suddenly, but there is not Aida. She's just saying silenzio, silence to the ladies. Aida verso a noi s'avanza. Aida is coming. And so Verdi, boom, boom. Silenzio. Aida verso a noi s'avanza. Figlia dei vinti, il suo dolor m'è sacro. Da, da, e continua. Then the music changes. There will be immediately a stop by the horn. Bam, pat, tre squilli di corno. And so the music changes. But Verdi tells us, Aida is here. And even if she's not there, the music of Aida is there. Indeed, after a couple of minutes, after a beautiful moment solo of Amneris, finally Aida arrives, and they will sing their duet, which is very beautiful and super difficult for the orchestra, for the singers, for everyone. There is also another moment where, for example, Aida is page 211, Dvidešemt vienuolika. No, dvišemtai vienuolika. Okay. Before Aida aria, qui Radames verrà. Play something before, please. Thank you. This is the music that introduced the fact that Aida is saying, qui Radames verrà. Here Radames will come, will arrive. What he wants to tell me. I'm trembling. And then blah, blah, blah. And other kind of things. But anyway, this music, the love theme, is used every time by Verdi to present Aida physically, to present Aida just as an idea. She's around, and to present the love by Aida for Radames. This is the first example. Thank you so much.
Tęsiant Aidos leitmotyvo temą, tai pirmasis fragmentas, kurį aiškino maestro, jisai pristatė antrojo veiksmo pradžią, kuris vyksta Amneris namuose, yra ir baleto, vergų šokiai, dainuojama apie aplinką, apie graži scena. Ir štai pasigirsta Aidos tema, nors pačios Aidos fiziškai scenoje nėra. Tačiau Amneris dainuoja apie Aida, kad štai ji pasirodys. Ji pristato pačią Aidos idėją. Taigi Verdis ne tik naudoja šią temą, norėdamas parodyti, kad Aida jau yra scenoje, bet ir norėdamas pristatyti pačią Aidos idėją. Ir po to antrasis fragmentas, kurį girdėjome, jisai skamba tuomet, kai Aida dainuoja apie tai, jog štai atvyks Radamesas, įdomu, ką jisai nori man pasakyti, aš drebu ir taip toliau. Tai jis, vėlgi, šis leitmotyvas yra naudojamas ir dainuojant apie AIDOs meilę Radamesui. Taigi, taip struktūriškai, rezumuojant tai, ką sakė maestro, yra 3 situacijos, kai ši AIDOs arba meilės tema Verdžio operoje yra naudojama. Tai pirmasis, kai AIDA fiziškai yra scenoje, antrasis, kai apie AIDą yra kalbama, apie ją yra galvojama, tai yra pati AIDOs idėja, ir trečiasis aspektas, trečioji situacija, kai pati AIDA dainuoja apie savo meilę Radamesui.
Okay. Then there are another 2 leitmotifs. These 2 leitmotifs are related to Amneris, which is probably the most complex character. Indeed, she has 2 leitmotifs. There is one of the leitmotif which opens the terzetto at the beginning of the opera, which is the one with the triola. It's beautiful. Now we can't play everything because otherwise you don't come to listen to us. No? So we can't spoil totally the opera. So it's funny because but interesting that he wants every time this theme played on the quarta corda, on the 4th string of the string. So it means that the sound becomes immediately much more dense. It's not a little bit more, let's say, darker. And this theme for me is the theme of conversation of Amneris. Every time Amneris is saying something, in this case, but related more or less every time to Radames. Indeed, in this part she's saying, quale insolita gioia nel tuo sguardo, di quale nobile fierezza ti balena il volto. And it means, such a strange eyes you have today. There is something new in your face, and I'm very jealous of this joy that you show me. So it's like a person who understood, who knew that Radames, of course, was in love with AIDA and he wants to be a warrior. And she doesn't vibrate. There are these people, no? There are, I call them energetic vampires. No? Some people who are drinking and living as a parasite only of the energy of somebody else. And everybody of us in our life, sooner or later, we will meet somebody like that. Unfortunately. And we have to recognize and avoid immediately, because these people are able to take off our energy. Amneris, at the beginning of the opera, for the first 3 acts, is exactly this, is energetic vampires. And she can't, even if she loves Radames, she doesn't love Radames with a real, genuine love. Because loving somebody, it means loving everything. Loving somebody, it means loving their happiness. And my wife is there with my daughter. And so if I love my wife as I love her happiness. Okay, I can't love my wife as I want her to be. Okay, Amneris is exactly the opposite. Amneris is a lady, a character who loves the world and the people only if they do what she wants. With her rhythm, with her sense of humor, with her political view. And every time there is this theme. It happens also in the 4th act with Amneris Radames. It's page 266. Okay, it's very difficult, sorry. Please. Also, let's come from before a little bit, no? Just to understand, no? In the score, I don't know where it is. Okay. Do it, Amneris Radames. there is a moment where they are very, 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 very upset. They are fighting. It's a duetto, Amneris and Radames. And then immediately she says, a morte, no? Traditori tutti, everybody's betraying my country, everybody's betraying me. What I'm saying, she says, and then io l'amo, I love him. Io l'amo sempre. I love him always. Dispera. Okay, so this is the love of Amneris, so conversation, but also love. And it happens, this tema, now I don't let you listen again, also in a moment during the Scena del Trionfo, where the king and everybody is preparing, there is a moment like a freezing dramaturgically, and there is again this theme. Is exactly actually when Amneris is coming on stage, because it's the moment for the daughter of the pharaoh to give also the coronation to the great warrior. So every time there is Amneris with a sense of snake, that she's not happy, she's contrasted by the love, but also the feeling that everything has to be done as she wants, there is this theme. Okay, please.
Yes. Na ir dabar pradėjom kalbėti apie Amneris leitmotyvus, kurių dirigentas išskiria du, ir šis pirmasis jis jį pavadino tokiu pokalbio leitmotyvu, mes čia jo klausėmės keletoje operos epizodų, kadangi ši tema, kurios ką tik klausėmės, labai dažnai yra susijusi su Amneris pokalbių, kalbėjimu arba buvimu su Radamesu. Ir pirmas iki fragmentas, kurį Justas grojo, yra, kai Amneris susitinka su Radamesu ir sako, na, ko tu toks laimingas ir aš tau pavydžiu tavo laimės. Ir maestro sako, kad iš tikrųjų Amneris bent jau operos pradžioje yra, na, žmogus, kurį mes pavadintume energetiniu vampyru, kuris, na, tarsi ištraukia iš žmogaus visą jo energiją, ir tokių žmonių, maestro sako, pats stengiuosi vengti. Tai Amneris, bent jau operos pradžioje, yra žmogus, kuris myli, bet myli žmogų tokį, koks ji nori, kad jisai būtų. Ne jį visą, ne jo laimę, bet Amneris myli žmogų tik tokį, kuris sutinka su ja, su jos politiniam pažiūrom ir panašiai. Tai šis motyvas irgi turi tam tikro kartėlio, ir po to girdėjome antras iki pasirodantį tą patį leitmotyvą, tai jis pasirodo triumfo scenoje, kai scenoje pasirodo Amneris, ir kuri taip pat turi, pasirodyti kaip faraono duktė, bet vėl lygiai taip pat su tuo kartėlio poskoniu.
And then Amneris' complex character has two leitmotiv. One, it was this, which is dreaming the love as she would like to have, but she can't get. And then there is, these people when they become very angry, that they don't succeed to scream. There are people that when they are angry, they don't succeed to scream and to throw out. Like I do, for example, my let's say this cork, and then I explode. People who are not able to explode, they become red, here, red. And this is how Verdi imagined this feeling in Amneris, letter F, dvilica, e on. It's funny because this is the theme of the nervosism of Amneris and the sense of possess, but it's incredible, Verdi, what he does. He puts this theme that we reuse a lot of times in the opera, but who is singing is Radames. Radames is saying, forse l'arcano amore scoprì che m'arde in core, which means maybe she understood, she got that the hidden love I had for Aida, she discovered. Maybe she discovered, because we arrive from her, before, there is Amneris, we sing, play from re, do, re, mi, si, okay, viens, do. She says to him, no? Maybe you dreamt something, un altro sogno mai, più gentil. I'm dreaming you, you feel, no? I want you really so much, but maybe you don't like me in this way. And then at room, ta-ram, bam. Don't you have here in Memphis, in this city, some desires? And then some hopes, question mark. It means, don't you love me? Don't you want me? And then, fermata, and he says, me? Are you asking me this? And then, such a strange question. Maybe she discovered the love I have for Aida. And then she becomes... And then, of course, she starts to scream a lot. Finally, at the end. But this is how Verdi created this theatrical effect. So the jealousy and the sense of possess Amneris has for Radames, and the sense of jealousy he has for Aida, she has for Aida, sorry, this competition, this insane and toxic love competition, doesn't come directly from the words of Amneris. Amneris just proposed a very sneaky question. Don't you have here in this city some any desires, any hope? He says, such a strange question. He starts to sing to us that she's jealous, but with this music. And at the end, we go to the end, at the very end of the opera, where there is the big duetto and the big scene of Amneris in the where actually at the beginning she's very bad, and at the end she realized that she did a very bad job and they are gonna die and she suffers a lot for real. There is again this theme. Where is it? It's a page 267. 5, sorry. Yeah, play. Come from before, I mean, just to... Yeah. This is the beginning of the aria, let's say, of Amneris, no? Alone in the building, some flutes, clarinet, viens, do. There is Amneris, no, arriving. You feel immediately that something bad is gonna happen, no? Because this thema is created with contrappunto, no? Indeed, she says, my rivale, my this lady who took me out, Radames, this very bad person, la borrita rivale a me giunge. You know, you feel that there is this totally cuckoo. No, that this person is, there is something that doesn't work in her mind. No, because the music is super energetic, but is also orchestrated very intelligently. No, very smartly. Verdi decided to block this melody. No, listen, and then she sings another phrase. So this melody is cut for theatrical reason. And this is more or less musically the presentation of Amneris.
Taigi dabar klausomės antrojo Amneris leitmotyvo ir maestro iš pradžių jį pristatė štai taip, kad jis dažniausiai susijęs su tomis vietomis, kur Amneris pritvinksta pykčio ir yra žmonės, kurie, kai supyksta, jie garsiai šaukia, kaip kad maestro sakė, daro jis pats, o yra žmonės, kurie supyksta, bet jie nesugeba nei išrėkti savo pykčio, bet tiesiog pasidaro raudoni ir pikti. Tai čia šis leitmotyvas būtent tokią emociją tarsi reprezentuoja. Ir pirmasis operos epizodas, kuriame galima išgirsti šį leitmotyvą, yra, kai Amneris paklausia Radameso tokio keisto klausimo, argi čia šiame mieste nėra tam tikrų tavo troškimų. Ir Radamesas tada jai pasako, kad koks keistas klausimas, fermata. Ir tada pasigirsta ši tema, bet dainuoja ne Amneris, o Radamesas. Vadinasi, ir jis dainuoja apie tai, kad negi jis suprato, negi jis žino apie jo meilę AIDai ir panašiai. Tai iš tikrųjų Verdi dramaturgiškai sužaidžia labai įdomiai, kad iš tikrųjų jis įdeda tą pyktį ne į pačios Amneris, o į Radameso lūpas. Na ir po to antrąjį sykį, kai girdėjome šį leitmotyvą, mes jau esame operos pabaigoje, kai Amneris jau yra pasikeitusi, jis supranta, kad iš tikrųjų viskas yra labai blogai, kad jį pasielgia labai negerai, tačiau iš karto galime pajausti tą baimę, tą nerimą, kurį šis labai energingas, labai intensyvus leitmotyvas atneša. Yra viena, vaikšto pastate ir būtent tą tokį nerimą, tą baimę, tą pyktį šis leitmotyvas ir atneša. And we have 15 minutes.
Yeah, maybe we go longer, like a couple of minutes. But anyway, if you don't mind. They mind in the Facebook direct, no?
No, they mind in the other event I have.
Okay. So I do very fast. There is another important thing, the use of the brasses, but now we can't listen because with the piano is not the same. But there are a lot of squilli di trombe, horns, trumpet, Egyptian trumpet, trumpet in the pit, trombones, horns, and also off-stage music and in the pit, which are very interesting because every squillo, every intervento, I don't know how to say in English, but any playing of these trumpets is important to understand also the psychology. For example, Radames at the very beginning, when he says, "Se quel guerriero fossi," if I were that warrior, and immediately the trumpet, pam, pa, 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 pam, pa, pam, pa, pam, pa, pam, pa, pa. But is everything in his imagination, his ear. It's a sound that he feels, but it's not real. You feel because you will listen to. But this sound dramaturgically doesn't exist. He wants to be a warrior, so he imagines the scene of triumph. And Verdi is so genius that he starts the triumph scene with the same squillo, with the same music. So when he really became a warrior, he really won the war against the Ethiopian. The first sound is yam pa 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 pam pa pam pa pam pa pam pa pa. So tell me. I mean, the triumph scene when he won starts with the same music that he was dreaming at the beginning of the opera. So this is theater. Of course, for everybody can be just okay. These are two trumpets. Okay, it's true. But if we want to go deeply, this is the storytelling of his psychology and what he succeeds to do. But you understood this more or less, maybe you translate later. But what is very important is the thema, or the terrifying thema of the priest, the sacerdote, which is this. It's a small sequenza of 4 notes going down. It's not a case that these notes are going down. They go down because Radames is going to the death. Because AIDA is going down to die. And when we die, we don't, okay, if you believe in God, maybe you go to the paradise. But I mean, in the reality, we go to the ground. Then, if you believe with the faith, you go wherever you want to go. But the reality is the priest, the hell, in this case. This thema is at the beginning of the preludio. So let's do like Divini Tactus before I of Algirdas. Divini, tema dell'amore, AIDA. Viens, do. First violin, second violin. Viola. Everybody is participating in the love of AIDA. Crescendo. So we are not talking only about love. maybe something will happen, eccetera, eccetera, no? Now, okay, it's a tema. Then we go to the finale secondo. During the trionfo, you remember I told you about the balletti. Piri 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 tiriroram pa 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 pa. That tema tirirora is tirirororiri is the same, but there is a moment during the trionfo where coro divided, and there are the ladies who are singing. Can you play a little bit of the play out of the women from the piano? Come d'intorno. No, they are full of happiness. Please. No, because they won the war. Priest arrive. Bom, 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 bom. In a moment of party where everybody is happy, there are these priests arriving again with this sequenza, no? Just to remember, you can do whatever you want, but the destiny already spoke. You're gonna die. Even in the trionfo. Indeed, there is the scena del giudizio where these priests are judging. Finally, at the end, it's fantastic. It's probably the most earth-breaking, I would say, moment of the opera, where when there is Amneris crying because she's listening in the building, she's listening this judgment, there is a moment where the chorus is singing exactly this music again. Bye. A little bit before. O chi lo salva. It's 202. Scena del giudizio. The beginning, no? Only contrabbassi. And there is only Amneris on stage. She's saying, I put him in their hands and now they will kill him for sure. Because I know them. And they will do this. Stop, thank you. And then later, when they finally judge him as a guilty, there will be again this music. No, let's do the chorus, sorry. Letter N of Napoli. Okay, there is the chorus screaming in a moment. Radames, è deciso il tuo fatto. So we decide that you're gonna die, no? And the music is this. Radames, è deciso il tuo fatto. Degli amanti sotto l'ara del lume sdegnato. And now remember, pam 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 pi pam 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 pim pim pam pa 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 pa. Again, pam pam pam. Thank you. Again, this sequence, tim pam pam pam. Cioè, I mean, the fato, the destiny. I'm a priest in this opera, and I'm not talking about my idea, but this is the idea of the fato. It's the destiny. And the destiny says that you die. And if you have to die, the music, it doesn't change. It's bom, 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 down, 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 and you go at the end of the grave. Because you are less important than the Egypt. You are less important than even ourselves. You are one of the regular people. You were a warrior, you won the war, thank you. But this pyramid here will stay even longer than you. Indeed, now it's 2023 and we still have in Egypt the pyramid, okay? But not the, I don't know, the pharaohs, no? But the pyramid is still there. So probably it's this, building a solid culture on some full, simple rules. And the sacerdoti, the priests are remembering during the opera every time to us that these rules are not be breaking. Otherwise, you die. Okay?
Okay. Pabandysiu išlukštenti viską, apie ką Sesto Quatrini kalbėjo. Tai grįžčiau į pačią pradžią, kas buvo visiškai kita tema, nes Sesto užsiminė apie trimitų temą, su kuria labai įdomiai sužaidžia Verdis, kai operos pradžioje pasigirsta trimitai, kai Radamesas dainuoja apie tai, kaip jis dar tik svajoja būti kariškiu, eiti į karą ir panašiai. Ir tada triumfo scenoje, kai Radamesas jau yra išpildęs savo svajonę, kai grįžta su pergalė, lygiai ta pati trimitų tema, kuri prieš tai, dramaturgiškai buvo tarsi tik Radameso vaizduotoja, ji suskamba kaip, pradžios scenos tema. Taigi Verdi štai taip labai įdomiai dramaturgiškai sužaidžia. Tačiau dabar daugiausia kalbėjom apie šventiko temą, kurią Justas pagrojo, ta sekvencija žemyn, kelios natos, kas tarsi simbolizuoja tai, kad galų gale ištiks mirtis, kad, kaip sako Sesto, kas tiki Dievą, tiki gal, kad žmonės pateks į rojų, bet praktiškai žmogus mirdamas grįžta į žemę ir tas judėjimas žemyn yra labai simboliškas ir logiškas. Ir kas yra įdomu, kad ši tema irgi pasirodo kai kada pačiose netikėčiausiose vietose, toje pačioje trumpo scenoje, kai iš pradžių choro moterys dainuoja džiaugsmingą, džiugesio pilną temą, iš karto po to mes išgirstame vėl šį šventiko motyvą, kuris tarsi primena, kad džiaukitės, tačiau likimas jau nusprendė, kad viskas bus taip, kaip turi būti. Ir po to operos pabaigoje scenoje viena Amneris, Radamesas laukia sprendimo, jis yra nuteisiamas ir jau yra aiškiai, kokia bus tragiška pabaiga. Mes vėl išgirstame šį šventiko motyvą, šį savotišką likimo motyvą ir ką maestro sako, kad jis tarsi visuomet primena, kad tu žmogau, Radameso, tarkim, atveju, taip, tu laimėjai karą, taip, tu kažką padarėjai, bet tu nesi toks svarbus, kaip svarbus yra Egiptas. Ir čia tarsi ir piramidės Egipto, kaip žinom, stovi ir dabar, pergyvenusios daugybė žmonių, daugybė herojų. Ir tai yra labai svarbi idėja, kuri šioje operoje yra pasakoma.
Okay, the very last. At the beginning I spoke you about this esotism, this inventing the truth, of Verdi. I want to show you how, otherwise this stays as a topic that I didn't explore enough for you to understand better probably the score. Inventing the truth, it means inventing some esotism. The French exotism was born in 1879 with the l'Exposition Universelle in Paris, where they start to have this feeling for music of some other countries with some different harmonic solution. Verdi in 1871 invented this. This is the solo oboe and clarinet for the aria of AIDA talking about O Patria Mia. So, my poor country, it's incredible that in our cast we will have also a lady, one of three Aidas from Ukraine, and the first night there was the war in Kiev, she took a bus with her baby and with her mother, and they came here in Vilnius, they are refugees, and she will sing O Patria Mia in our stage. So this is also a political meaning. I mean, sometimes the reality is worse than the fiction, but this is the music. Oboe solo. Eccetera, Patria Mia. The second one, for example, is the one of the other one in 3/4, which is, 245. Again, another tema, another music that can give us the feeling of the loneliness of AIDA, Oboe solo. She says, we have to escape from here. We have to find another country which will be our hope for the future. But very sad, It's not hope, full of hopes. Una novella patria, eccetera. just to let you feel that this is a melody with 7 notes. But there is this interval of second augmented, which is very exotic actually. It's very simple, but it's very exotic. And this is how Verdi created, for example, also the Nilo, the music of the Nilo, or for example, no, the Sacerdotessa, sorry, page 58, and then we close. Page 58, the Sacerdotessa. This is when the lady, the priestess is singing. Arpa. I mean, genius. Few notes, but immediately bringing us in the Middle East or in Egypt or in another culture, inventing a melody which didn't exist before to give us the feeling that in that moment we are there. Isn't it? It's not magic music. And Verdi. So stop to say Verdi is Zumpapa. It's not Zumpapa. Verdi is very deep, but it's deep only to the people who are not deaf and not blind. And they want to explore more the sense of theater as the West world, so Europe, created in those years, in the 18th, 17th, and 19th century. So Verdi is a diamond, is a bowl full of jewels, but that must be discovered to having an approach scientific in the analysis, but with an open heart, to be possessed by these melodies and by this giant of the history of music. So for me it's finished now, she finished in Lithuanian. Thank you.
Bus dar proga dar sykį paploti maestrą. Tai labai trumpai apie paskutinę temą šiandieną, kuri buvo paminėta Sesto Quatrini įžangoje, tai kaip Verdi išrado tiesą, kaip jis išrado tą egzotizaciją, kurią mes dabar galėjom girdėti Justo grojime. Tai keletą epizodų, kur mes galime išgirsti tą kitos kultūros vaizdavimą, ką tik išgirdom. Tai pirmasis fragmentas buvo, kai AIDA dainuoja O Patria Mia ir ji dainuoja apie savo tolimą tėvynę. Antrasis fragmentas buvo, kai AIDA dainuoja, kad mes turime rasti savo kitą tėvynę, kitą šalį, kur galėsime surasti savo namus. Ir čia girdim tą padidintą sekundą, ar ne, kuri vis persismelkia per tas tokias tikrai iš tikrųjų kiek egzotiškai skambančias melodijas ir ji nuolatos kartojasi. Ir tai yra labai paprastas įrankis, su kuriuo bet kuris mus iš karto tarsi perkelia į kitą pasaulį, ar į viduriniosius rytus, ar į tą patį Egiptą, kažkur kitur, ne ten, kur esame dabar. Taigi čia vėlgi slypi Verdžio genijus ir rezumuodamas visą tai Sesto Quatrini sakė, kad Verdis yra labai gilus tiems, kurie nėra kurti ir tiems, kurie nėra akli. Ir tokia analizė, toks analitinis žvilgsnis su atvira širdimi mums gali atverti tą nepaprastą Verdžio talento deimantą, kuris slypi jo muzikoje. Thank you very much, Sesto.
Thank you. So please don't come to listen only the triumph scene. Okay, which is beautiful, it will be fantastic, energetic, but after this meeting, the message I want to send you, to all of you also in the house, people who will come here, because the theater is sold out, 8 performances. It's a big success for this theater to have this sold out every night. But come here to be absolutely inside the psychology of this drama, which is absolutely fantastic and that reveals exactly what we live in our lives, also today. Love for the country. I mean, I learned in Lithuania, I learned a lot of things. Here in this country, I learned particularly the love you have for your country, that in Italy sometimes we forgot. You are very patriotic and you love what you have. You try to do the best to preserve the language, the culture, And this is something I really learned. Also your position, your political position in the European community is quite strong for such a small country, because you believe in this country is very proud of itself. And AIDA is this. Basically, this opera is talking exactly about this. How we balance the love for a person and the love for a country. To have one, maybe we have to lose the other one sometimes. And this is what is telling us. It's very actual, it's very Lithuanian, it's very east of Europe now.
Tai Sesto paprašė ateiti į operą ne tik pasiklausyti ir pasigrožėti triumfo temą, kuri bus nuostabi, bet išgyventi ir visą šį operos psichologinį sudėtingumą. Ir jis taip pat sako, kad iš tikrųjų ši opera yra labai ir apie mus, labai apie Lietuvą, nes jo teigimu vienas dalykų, kurių jis išmoko būtent čia Lietuvoje, bet daugelio kitų yra meilė savo šaliai, kuri Italijoje jo teigimu kartais yra pamirštama, nes mes lietuviai savo šalį labai mylim, labai stengiamės saugoti savo kalbą, kultūrą. Esame stiprus tarptautinėje politinėje arenoje. Taigi AIDA, jo teigimu, tai perfrazant, yra labai lietuviška, labai rytų europietiška, labai apie tai, kas yra aktualu mums šiandien. Ji yra apie meilę žmogui ir meilę savo šaliai. Kartais vieną dėl kito tenka paaukoti, tačiau ji yra apie mus. So, thank you very much.
Ačiū.